At some point it hits, not like a big celebration, more like a quiet, uncomfortable realization. People around start acting different. Not nicer, just more careful, more defensive, like they're watching every word. It's not because anything changed overnight. It's because the patterns finally became obvious. Conversations feel predictable, reactions feel rehearsed, and excuses start sounding recycled. That's when it settles in. Not everyone is operating on the same level, and that gap makes others uneasy. Not impressed, uneasy. And instead of admitting it, most will try to level things out by dragging the situation down to where they feel safe. That's why small comments turn passive-aggressive, why jokes carry a sting, why support feels conditional. Nobody says it straight, but the message is clear: stay in your place, so they don't feel exposed. The first mistake most people make at that stage is trying to explain themselves. Breaking things down, clarifying intentions, over-communicating just to avoid conflict. It feels like the right move, like being reasonable will fix things. It doesn't. It actually makes things worse. Because the more explanations given, the more material others have to twist, question, and throw back later. It becomes a cycle. Speak, get misunderstood on purpose. Speak again, repeat. Meanwhile, the other side isn't confused at all. They understand perfectly. They just benefit from acting like they don't. That's the part that takes time to accept. Not every misunderstanding is real. Some are strategic. And once that clicks, the urge to explain starts to feel like wasted energy instead of responsibility. Silence starts to look different after that. Not weak, not passive, just controlled. There's a big difference between having nothing to say and choosing not to say it. That choice makes people uncomfortable because it removes their ability to steer the situation. No reactions to feed off, no arguments to flip, no emotional hooks to grab onto. Just calm, steady presence. And that kind of quiet forces others to sit with their own behavior, which most people hate. That's when the pressure ramps up. More probing questions, more attempts to provoke, more subtle digs disguised as concern. It's not random. It's a reaction to losing control of the narrative. Then comes the social pushback. Not direct attacks, but little shifts. Invitations slow down. Messages get shorter. Energy changes. It's not because something wrong was done. It's because the old dynamic stopped working. People who relied on easy access, constant reassurance, or predictable reactions suddenly don't have that anymore. And instead of adjusting themselves, they label the change as distance, attitude, or arrogance. It's easier for them to frame it that way than admit they were benefiting from something one-sided. That's how projection shows up in real life, not as obvious blame, but as quiet reframing that makes the other person look like the problem. What's strange is how quickly calm behavior can be seen as threatening. Staying composed in situations where others expect frustration throws people off. Not reacting to bait, not defending every point, not chasing approval. It disrupts the usual script. And when that script breaks, some people don't know how to interact anymore. So they escalate, trying to get some kind of reaction just to feel back in control. That's why things can suddenly feel more intense, even though less is being said. The tension isn't coming from conflict, it's coming from the absence of it. And that silence, when it's intentional, speaks louder than any argument ever could. There's also this shift where validation stops mattering the same way. Not because approval isn't nice, but because it's no longer needed to feel steady. That alone changes how decisions get made. No more checking how something will be received before doing it. No more adjusting behavior just to keep the peace. And that independence can feel isolating at first, because a lot of social interactions are built on mutual reassurance. When one side stops playing that game, the connection either grows into something real or falls apart. Most don't grow. And that's not a loss, even though it feels like one in the moment. Another thing that becomes obvious is how often people test boundaries without realizing it. Small things, like pushing for information, expecting immediate responses, or assuming access to time and energy. Before, it might have gone unnoticed or been tolerated. Now it stands out, and instead of confronting every single instance, there's a shift toward quiet correction. Delayed replies, shorter answers, less availability. No big announcements, just adjusted behavior. And those adjustments reveal a lot. Some people respect it without a word. Others push harder, trying to get things back to how they were. That reaction says everything that needs to be known. Control starts to loosen in a different way too. Not trying to manage every outcome, not trying to predict every reaction, just doing what makes sense and letting things play out. That doesn't mean being careless. It means not over-investing in how others respond. Because at some point, it becomes clear that no amount of effort can control someone else's perception. People will see what they want to see, especially if it protects their own comfort. So instead of fighting that, there's a step back. Let them think what they think. Let them talk. Let them assume. Reality has a way of sorting itself out without constant interference. There's also a quiet confidence that builds, not loud, not showy, just steady. It comes from seeing patterns repeat and knowing how they end. Arguments that used to feel urgent now feel unnecessary. Situations that used to cause stress now feel manageable. And that shift isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being less affected by things that don't matter long term. That difference is hard for others to read. Some interpret it as coldness, others as distance, but it's really just clarity. Knowing what deserves attention and what doesn't. And once that line is clear, it doesn't move easily. In the end, nothing dramatic happens. No big confrontation, no final speech, no moment where everything gets explained and understood. Just a gradual change in how things are handled. Less noise, fewer reactions, and more awareness. And over time, the environment adjusts. Some people drift away, some stay but act differently, and a few actually meet that level without resistance. But the main thing that changes is internal. The need to prove, explain, or fix everything fades, not because it was mastered, but because it was seen for what it is, unnecessary. And once that's understood, the whole game loses its grip. There's a point where it becomes obvious how much energy was wasted trying to keep things smooth for everyone else. Constantly adjusting tone, picking the right words, making sure nobody felt uncomfortable, even when they had no problem making things uncomfortable in return. That habit doesn't disappear overnight, but it starts to feel heavy, like carrying something that was never yours to hold. And once that weight is noticed, it's hard to ignore it. So the effort drops, not out of spite, just out of clarity. If someone feels awkward because things are no longer being softened for them, that's not something to fix anymore. Adults can sit with discomfort. And if they can't, that's their problem, not something that needs to be managed on their behalf. It also becomes clear how often people confuse access with entitlement. Just because they were once close or had consistent communication doesn't mean that access is permanent. But a lot of people don't see it that way. They treat reduced availability like a personal attack, like something has been taken from them. That's when guilt starts, getting thrown around in subtle ways. Comments about how things used to be, or how someone has changed. And yeah, things did change. That's the whole point. Growth isn't always comfortable for the people who benefited from the old version. And instead of arguing about it or trying to justify it, there's power in just letting that discomfort exist. No long explanations, no defending the shift. Just a quiet understanding that not everyone is meant to stay in every version of life. And then there's the realization that not every reaction deserves a response. That one takes time to really settle in, because the instinct is to address things, to clear the air, to keep things fair. But fairness isn't always the goal for everyone involved. Some people just want engagement, even if it's negative. They want attention, a reaction, something to confirm they still have influence. Once that pattern becomes clear, stepping back stops feeling like avoidance and starts feeling like control. Let the comments sit. Let the assumptions hang in the air. Let the silence do its job. Because the truth is, people reveal themselves more when they don't get interrupted. And watching that happen without stepping in changes everything.